Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice podcast. We would like to first say thank you to those who tune in week after week, those who share the link on various platforms. Thank you. Y'all, this season, we are excited to bring you some hot and new topics. We are ready to push you further into your destiny. If you feel stuck or even overwhelmed, I want you to tune in and have a mind of expectancy, because we believe that if you challenge it, it will change.
Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice. Challenge it and it will change. Oh, I want to thank all of you that continues to listen to the Power in Your Voice. I am praying that you are getting something great out of this. Things that are changing your life, things that make you look at situation differently, or however. I just pray for being blessed by the Power in Your Voice podcast. So again, I have my team with me, and we have another great topic. We always told you that we would bring new topics to you so you can have something that you can communicate with your friends, with your family, a good piece of conversation just to bring even more out. Where we leave off, you can pick it up and you can discuss it so you can have some clarity on where we're going. Or you can say, you know what, I can piggyback off of that, or I understand what they're saying. So, me and my team, we come up with some amazing things. So, my daughter Renice came up with this topic, and I like to give credit where it's due. She came up with this topic, so I wanted to bring it to the podcast. And so, this is what we're going to be talking about: self-worth versus self-esteem. So with us talking about that, come on, Renice, tell us the difference between self-worth and self-esteem. Come on, Renice, talk to me.
All right. I'm excited about this topic I'm excited about this topic because not only do women deal with this, men deal with this as well. And so when you're looking at self-worth versus self-esteem, when you look at self-worth, it's something that is within you. It's a belief in your own values that you have, and it literally comes from within. It's
Okay.
Self-worth helps you to know that you are loved, and it helps you to have respect for yourself, not just to expect love and respect from someone else, but it's something that you have for yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's also self-worth is not based off of your accomplishments of or the abilities, the things that you have the ability to do. Those are added values to you, but that's not your self-worth, because what happens when you don't get that, or what happens when you don't accomplish that? Does that
Mm-hmm.
take away the worth of who you are? That's not the case. So self-worth is not based off of your accomplishments or the abilities that you have. um and so when you look at self-esteem, and I thought that this was really interesting, when you look at self-esteem versus self-worth, we always know self-worth comes from within, but self esteem comes from outsiders.
Wow.
They are the ones that speak to you. We allow people to either build us up or tear us down by the things that they say. And
Mm-hmm.
so, not only that, we allow our accomplishments to either feel like we're great or we're not as great. And so, we have to be
So true.
careful when we are in a position of going through self-worth or self-esteem. And it's so much greater. I feel it is so much greater to have self-worth, because I don't allow people to put me in a place that I am not supposed to be. And I asked a question to when we was talking about this topic. I asked them, do you feel like you have to change yourself to meet others' expectation? If you feel like you have to change yourself to meet other self expectation, know this, that is a part of what they think you should be. It is not necessarily who you're supposed to be. So people can add value to you. We're not taking away people helping you to get through different things and people helping to build you up. But always remember your self-worth, because no matter whether someone feels a certain way about you, you're going to have to learn to love yourself regardless of how what you think someone else ought to do for you.
That was really good how you uh, brought the light to self-worth and versus self-esteem. That was some great knowledge. And I want to carry on with this. I don't want to waste any time because this is really good. Jalen, come on, let's add to what has been said so we can know the difference. Come on, talk to me.
I love the topic of self-worth. I've been joking all day saying, self-worth, that's my middle name. Because I love self-worth. I love myself. And I recognize the value and the worth in myself. And I think the most important factor in helping me to recognize my worth was basing it off of the word of God and what does God say about me. In doing my study, I was reading Psalms 139 verses 14 through 18, and it was talking about how God has just made us so miraculously complex and how he has carefully skilled and skillfully shaped us, and how he has more desires for us than the sand on the shore. And when you
Wow.
think about that and you really believe it, because believing it is really the key. And when you believe what you're reading, it's like anything that tries to come up against you, that tries to devalue you, it's like you don't even let it affect you, because it's like I know who I am. That's my core value, is what God said about me. Like I'm his child. And to him, I'm more precious than rubies. And rubies
Wow.
are super expensive diamonds. And so
Yes.
it's like once you read that and you believe it, there should be nothing or no one that can come along and try to devalue you. And I love what my mom was saying earlier about how people try to change themselves to fit into the expectation of what other people have for them. And I think about our world today, and I think about how so many people are transforming themselves to fit in. It's almost like people live in a society full of chameleons, and everyone is trying to fit in with the environment and fit in with their surroundings and with their friends, but no one's standing out. But in actuality, we have the ability to step into a room and change the entire atmosphere of a room, because we were never called to fit in. But you think about it today, and people don't value themselves based off of what the Bible says about them. People value themselves based off of social media and how many followers and likes they can get, or they value themselves based off of their body image. That's why you have so many people going and getting BBLs and trying to get a small waist and a big booty, because that's the trend right now. Or people value themselves based off of a nice house or a nice car. And that's so none of that matters. If you have no self-worth, none of that's going to even matter. You'll never be satisfied trying to keep up with the hype of culture, because it's always changing. And one thing that I really loved in this study is how in our culture today, people glorify their gifts more than they glorify their character. So you have so
Wow.
many people that are operating in their gifts, but their character is broken. Like internally, they're broken and they're just operating like robots because they can sing or because they can dance or because they can paint. That they're not even taking out the time, or nobody is even investing the time into building up their character and strengthening those core values. So to me, self-worth is definitely more important than self-esteem. But once you understand the value of that self-worth, it will increase your self-esteem.
And Dr. Linda, can I add something to that? Once
Sure.
you when you're looking at self-worth, you must know that you're worthy. You're worthy of the person that God has created you to be, and you don't have to lower who you are or try to be someone else when you gain the worth that you are. And I think it's so important. I think about it like this, like Jalen is saying, you're talking about character and stuff like that. Um, wouldn't it be amazing that when we feel good about ourselves, we don't look for the compliments of someone else. It'll be, if you give me a compliment, I appreciate it, but I'm not
Hmm.
looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And my self-esteem isn't relying on it.
yeah, and so it's a thing that you must learn to value within you and feel good about you. And we see so much of this in our world today, as Jalen was talking about how trends come and trends go, and people are constantly trying to find the new trend to be happy, and it comes
Mhm.
from within. It doesn't it's that it we what we put on the outer appearance. You have to wear what's really on the inside of you if you're going to find real happiness and find your worth, and stop looking at trying to be what the world wants us to be. It'll be amazing when we as God's people will learn to trend set and show the world what God really looks like.
Wow, that is some powerful stuff that you all are saying. Um, Jalen had mentioned talking about the gift and the character. So many times she said we can get into our gift and forget our character. Jalen, I want you to come and just elaborate on that just a little bit more between that gift and that character. Talk to me.
So I was watching this documentary on an artist. I think I can say his name. His name Chris Brown. I was watching a documentary on Chris Brown, and he was out and he was doing all these concerts, and he was um performing and dropping new music and all of that. But nobody knew behind closed doors he was on drugs so bad. He was so depressed. He was angry. He was all of these things, but he knew how to put on a good show. He knew how to step out in front of a crowd and they're cheering, Chris Brown, Chris Brown. And he's literally broken inside. And you think about so many other artists, or you hear about so many people who are big names and they're committing suicide. And it's like, but you have the nice house and you have the nice car, you got the accolades, so why aren't you happy? In our eyes, why aren't you happy? Because you've made it.
Yes.
But those things don't
Yes.
make you. That it
Yes.
like my mom was saying, it comes from within. So you could check off every box. You could have the nicest of the nicest things in the whole wide world. But if your core values are broken, nothing is gonna satisfy you. You could be dropping the best music and operating in your talents at the better than anybody else in your industry. But if those core values and your character is broken, then none of it's gonna matter to you. You'll never be fulfilled.
That, that was real good.
The Chris Brown documentary, it was on Netflix. If anybody wanted to go watch it, he talks about his story on Netflix.
Thank you, Jalen, for bringing that out. Since we are using his name on our podcast, so I appreciate that you can go on Netflix to watch it. All right, Davion, come on, weigh in on what that we're talking about, this self-worth versus self-esteem.
Yeah, I like what Jalen just said right there. That's, man, that's powerful right there. But it makes me think about actually when me and Jada had first got married, like months in, right? I was this topic makes me think about like insecurities too, because I believe that self-worth can help combat or when you understand your self-worth, it can help combat insecurities and like jealousy and stuff, right? Because I remember when we had got married, I had it bad. Like we y'all, we laugh about it all the time. I didn't have I didn't understand my self-worth, right? And we used to watch this show on Netflix, and it was about these rappers, right? And this rapper was so good, like he was cold, y'all. But because I didn't understand my self-worth, I was like, yeah, hey, this other dude better. Like I'm tripping, right? I didn't understand who I was, so or understand my self-worth. So it caused me to like hate on him. It caused me to be insecure. Like I was insecure with my own things. And I feel like when you understand your self-worth, and I really do thank God, because I remember at a certain point I had to just tell Jada like flat out, I was like, I'm insecure about this, whatever. And that's when God really started helping me with this thing for real. Like, and he really changed me to the point where I saw like who I was. And we went, and it's funny because we actually went back to watch the show and we laugh about it all the time. Like, do you remember when you was tripping about this rapper? Like he was actually really good, but I didn't understand who I was. I was so insecure. And I believe that self-worth can help against jealousy too, because if you see somebody who has, a nice whatever, or a nice house, or they're a certain way, right? When you understand who you are and you see who are, you understand your self-worth, then it can be like, I like what you got going on. Like you got a big house. It's cool. I love your house, right? Like it's so nice. But I love my house, or I love my apartment, or I love what I got. You know what I'm saying? I understand what I have, and I'm not looking at it like, because you have this, I'm jealous, but I understand what I got. And I think that's a powerful thing, because I think a lot of people, they have jealousy and things like that because they don't understand what they have. They don't understand who they are. So yeah, self-worth is important, man. It can keep you out of a lot of dangerous, jealous, and insecure situations for sure.
I love that, Davion. Oh my God, you really talked about some stuff, talking about that jealousy and how you couldn't promote the other person that was doing well. Because when you don't know who you are, or you don't have self-value of yourself, your self-worth, not knowing what your worth is, it could cause envy, it could cause resentment, it could cause judgment, it can cause be spiteful, And so what I would like to do, leave with this Power in Your Voice podcast, is go do some work on self-worth versus self-esteem. And I believe if we go and do that, we will become better, because we'll stop allowing others to build our self-esteem. So when no one is on the sideline, you got to know your self-worth. I'll talk to you next week on the same topic. All right. Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in this week. Our prayer is that you be encouraged. Know that life can be hard at times, sometimes even unbearable. But know, when we are weak, God is strong. Let's take off the world's expectation of us and ask God, what do you expect of me? We ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Have a blessed week, and see you next week.